Come and dream with me.
And welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch discussion of our top 10 favorite TV shows of 2025. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today is Dylan Black.
Good to be here talking about how my TV list is correct.
Sure it is. I look forward to hearing it and then letting people judge for themselves if you did pick the top 10 TV shows of 2025. All right, let's just dive straight in. Dylan, what's your number 10?
Number 10 is Alien Earth, the Noah Hawley created series that I didn't have much hope for. And I was holding on to some hope because he was doing it and he did Fargo. And I'm like, and I also hated the idea of the Fargo TV series when that was announced. I was like, this is a dumb idea. How the fuck are you going to base anything on Fargo? Like, that's just a movie. And then that show's great. And then I was like, oh, maybe you'll pull the same trick with this. And that's what happened. But sort of everything you sort of be like, yeah, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Hide the alien until like the last two episodes? Dumb, stupid. Like, how's that going to last across the TV? And they're like, nah, fucking aliens 10 minutes in. Yeah, it just does such a good job, I think, of, because the other thing that's really interesting that I guess a lot of people don't, it's like you may be aware but don't really consciously think about it. It's like aliens never been on Earth. Like all the movies take place in other planets or space and stuff, unless you count there's like I think part of one of the Alien vs Predator movies takes place on Earth briefly, but we don't really count those movies because they're not, well, I just think they're shit, but I know some people like them. But yeah, really good cast. You got like a bunch of people playing Sydney Chandler playing the synthetics and doing this with these young, I guess they're teenagers and kids or whatever, put into these synthetic bodies, and that just makes for a really interesting sort of dynamic of, and also we're just playing on the most sort of go-to storyline for this sort of stuff, but you know, what does it mean to be human and all that amongst everything's there. And you've got the boy genius, played by Samuel Blanken, who never doesn't like to wear shoes and is also just, I guess, playing God and thinks he can play God or attempts to. And yeah, there's some really other interesting performances in it, including Timothy Oliphant, just very stoic, androidish, does a really good job at that. And cinematography's all great, very alien looking, you know, grays, darks, stuff like that. And yeah, when we see the alien, it doesn't really hold back. Like there's plenty of gore and gruesome kills and stuff. And I know also maybe the scariest thing in the show isn't actually the alien, maybe it's that fucking thing that infects the sheep. You know, it also introduced some other alien shit in this that's scarier nearly. So really, really good.
My number 10 is South Park seasons, I guess, 27 and 28.
27 and 28, yeah.
A show that came back with a very loud bang, skewing the current administration in like the most brutal way possible. Just their depiction of Donald Trump is my favorite thing. Psycho wannabe dictator with the tiny penis. Relax, guy. Don't worry about it.
I'll sue them.
It's just resurgence into pop culture relevancy. Not that it was obviously streamed. It'd been going strong for several years, but like I feel like it was almost mainstream or much watched TV every week with who they choose to skewer. Whether it was fucking Chrissy Gnome and all the ICE agents, which fucking looks even worse now. Or the ICE agents, or they were very kind to them in the episode that was skewering him. And
I mean, they invade heaven.
Also, how crazily they had like a running story throughout the entire bunch of episodes this year that kind of culminated in the last episode.
Satan's baby.
Yeah, Satan, losing that baby. Very sad. Yeah. So funny, so enjoyable.
Also manages to stay culturally relevant for other stuff, I guess. It
is crazy that they make these episodes in like
6-7 episodes.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's fucking 6-7. Fucking almost killing comment. Yeah, South Park. It was great this year. Then what's the number 9?
My number 9 is the Tim Robinson series, The Chair Company, which is a very weird show. But now that I've watched
Really? Who would have
because
guessed?
we watched the trailer and we was like, that's wild. I have no idea what's going on or what the story is here, but sure. Now, having watched it, I can explain that basically the setup for the show is that a guy who works at a company and has like been given the lead project of a mole creation, Tim Robinson. And then in the first episode, the first like half of the episode, during the first proper, like in front of the whole company meeting he goes to sit down on a chair and the chair breaks and he falls off it. And, then it, sort of embarrassing for him. So he then spirals to then find out who created the chair because the chair caused him embarrassment. So he has to find the company. He tries to find the number of the company so he can complain about it. And that just sends him down a world of conspiracy theories you could not even begin to imagine about this chair company and how they're involved in global espionage and all sorts of absolute nonsense. And you could not predict how this show plays out and how one character could spiral. But at the end of the day, the series is just about a guy who was embarrassed that a chair fell when he sat, crashed underneath him when he sat on it. And that's, I think at the end of the day, as weird as the show gets, it starts somewhat relatable, I guess, amongst it all. But yeah, it's very Tim Robinson. If you don't like his humor, then I'd say it's not going to work for you. But if you enjoy any of his other stuff, then it would be a must watch if you like his stuff.
My number 9 is Steak, the Owen Wilson led comedy on Apple TV about a former golf pro who takes on a amateur golfer to try and mentor him into becoming a pro. A really interesting, fun story about second chances and redemption and, coming back from rock bottom, I guess. Owen Wilson is fantastic. Mark Maron is fantastic. The other cast members are really great. Yeah, it kind of filled that Ted Lasso hole in my heart. Getting to the telling stories with sport, that allow using sport as a vehicle to tell deeper stories. I think, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Continues to resonate with me. So, Stick is my number 9. Dylan, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is the Rachel Sennott created series I Love LA, which fills my what's been missing for some time, my HBO fix of I loved Girls, and that was one of my favorite shows every year that was airing, and this is now, I think, fairly slotting into that genre of what's been missing, which you can call I think it would be like Sex and the City, Girls, and then this. I think is the genre, whatever genre we're calling it. So in this one, it's Rachel Sennott plays the lead. She's like a social media manager. She works for like a company who works with like influencers and stuff like that. And in the first episode, you hear her complaining about a girl, Tallulah, who's played by Odessa Azion. And she is all like, this fucking, like, you learn that she worked with her and then she became a big, like, influencer. She went off and then she comes back to town in the first episode, and by the end of that first episode, they've sort of made up, and now Rachel Sennott's character is going to work as her manager for her as like an influencer. So it's very modern, very current day LA sort of stuff. You've got all this sort of stuff. Then you've also got True Whitaker, which is Forrest Whitaker's daughter, plays another character in this. Jordan Firstman plays another one, and then Josh Hutcherson plays Rachel Sennott's boyfriend, who is the most just. He stands out from the cast list of like how's he fit into the group, and I think that's like sort of the point. Like he's like Rachel Sennott's friend group. The three of us are, very like LA, I guess, like Gen Z, whatever, sort of type. And then Josh Hutcherson's character is like the normal guy, I guess. Like he's the sort of fit, and which becomes part of the storyline in some degree. Each episode is like there is a through line, obviously, with like trying to build up a content creator influence her career and get like big jobs and stuff. But then you also just have these wild episodes where wild recurring small parts. Like Ayo Edeberry plays this singer, like pop star, and you don't really recognize her honestly the first time she shows up, and you can tell she's having a great time playing this character because it's not something I don't think she's done in everything else. But then there's also like one of the best episodes of the series is they go to they get invited to a party that's being held at Elijah Wood's house. And then when they get there, they ask where he is, and they're like, "No, he's not here," and all this sort of stuff. He just like said that we can have the party here, but he's out of town. And True Whitaker's character is like, "I love Elijah Wood." She's got like a huge crush on him. And then there's like a sign saying "Don't go upstairs" or something, and then they go past it, and they find Elijah Wood sitting upstairs watching The Simpsons. And then they like half the episode is just Rachel Sennott and True Whitaker's character sitting there having these really weird conversations with Elijah Wood's character, which is good time. And I think like that episode reminded me somewhat of Atlanta, just having these weird like sort of side episode things and odd stuff that sort of happens. Yeah, the characters are a mix of horrible people / you totally get it, but it makes for a lot of fun, and that's what part of like you constantly like, why would you do that? Why are you saying that? Like there's just they all do terrible things. The only one who you can definitely say by the end of the series is completely even not, but for the most part it's like Josh Hudson's character. But that's part of the fun with these these shows. They're just the characters are a lot of fun to watch. It's hot people being hot, I guess, is the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My number 8 is season 4 of The Bear. Obviously, a show that I guess a little bit of the shine has been taken off with a more not as well received season 3. I think season 4 gets back to the show at its best with like this kind of redemptive arc, or like characters actually starting to change for the better. Kami actually not driving into almost killing himself to be the very best, and like kind of wanting to find personal happiness. Fences are mended, and people reconcile and talk about their feelings and make big life choices, and all the while trying to like keep this kitchen, this restaurant afloat, despite money troubles and the rigors of trying to run a high cuisine restaurant in this economy. Everybody's fantastic. I think, the standout episode is the wedding episode, or I guess it's not actually a wedding, it's whatever's after the wedding. Whatever the word for that is, because I can't remember.
Don't know, I haven't been to enough weddings in my life, to be honest.
Yeah. I think really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to when they come back. I think I've heard reports there's going to be another season this year. We'll see. But yeah, I think The Bear. I'm looking forward to more of cooking brilliance. And they brought back a bunch of fan favorite characters as well. Bullet Bolter and a bunch of others. So yeah, good times. Dylan, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is The Studio, the Golden Globe winning studio, in which Seth Rogen has created a show about Hollywood that points out everything that's wrong with Hollywood. And as someone who complains a lot about things in Hollywood, I find it very enjoyable, and it's a good time. And you have a combination of the hectic Wonder episode to the Golden Globes one, to just or even the one where he's talking to the director of Smile, trying to make him make Smile again and call it something else pretty much. Which is definitely something that's wink. There we go. Which is definitely something to the degree that's probably happened in real world. It's just so. I feel like you could watch it without like being into the industry as much as we are and still find it funny. But when you like, only complaining about shit going to streaming and not to cinemas all the time, or movie studios more interested in making money than art, like this is the show that just hits all the. I'm like, yeah, like, yeah. So, and obviously it's very well made. Like it's, and every actor in it is doing a like Chase Sue Wonders, I guess is the number set, like Barinholtz and Catherine Hahn. Like, it's got this great cast and everything, and everyone's doing these great performances. But I also think, like, behind the scenes, the production to do such, like, obviously the one is the one, but every episode has these long takes purposely. It just obviously requires a lot of work and everything to put it through. And standout show.
My number 7 is the latest season of Slow Horses. I believe it's season 5 off the top of my head.
I feel like it's dropped a lot in your list since last year. It's usually like,
well, I don't think it's definitely not the strongest season, but I think it's the most fun. I'm really enjoying the group dynamic. Obviously, this season a little bit more focused on the hacker Roddy Ho, who is in the opening episode is attempted to be assassinated, and the rest of the season is kind of trying to figure out why, of all people, someone is trying to kill him, leading to this bigger plot around the crimes of the British government and espionage and that kind of stuff. Anything, you get to see a few more shades of Gary Oldman's character, and it's just good British television that is reliably here every single year, and then drops a trailer at the end for the next season. It's just it's comfort food at this point. So Slow Horses. Dylan, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is The Rehearsal season 2, in which Nathan Fielder says there's something going on with the what do we call it? The airplane industry, the flight
airline industry.
Airline industry. What's happening? Why are these? What's happening with these crashes? What's happening with these issues? Like, what's the cause of this? And pretty much across, 6 episodes, I think, I think, somehow amongst a show that is very funny, gets to the bottom of it and solves it, which I think is the craziest part. And have you watched this yet?
No, I'm still going to catch up.
Okay, well, I'm going to spoil it because it's been long enough.
It's been spoiled. I know.
Okay. The craziest thing about this series is he interviews all these people that he then says, he said, pretty much comes to the conclusion that the problem is that the captains and co-pilots, they don't interact in the waiting room before they fly, and quite often they don't really interact at all. They build no relationship, and then when they get in the plane, if a co-pilot spots something that's wrong, they're either too scared to say it, or the captain shuts them down and stuff. So it's a break in like relationships with the people. So what Nathan Fielder does,
power dynamic.
Yeah, bad power dynamic. So then Nathan Fielder this season says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn how to fly a fucking plane, and goes through and gets all these pilot licenses and stuff, which is an insane sequence of events to watch happen. Then he tries to fly like a massive whatever, like a Boeing or whatever, like a proper airline flight, and then legally he can't fly one with real passengers in it, so he hires a bunch of actors to sit in the plane so he can do it, and then gets a real co-pilot in, and he's the captain, so he can film what would happen. And honestly, I remember watching that, just sitting here with my like, it's like sort of those things where if you stop to think about it, you're like, obviously no one dies or else they wouldn't be showing it. But I remember being so suckered in and just sitting there like, I don't know if you'd watch it, my jaw like would have been like jaw on mouth, because obviously I'm watching the week it comes out. I haven't seen fucking spoiled. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck am I watching? Like, how is he getting away? This is absolutely insane that this is something he did. And I'm still blown away. And I've watched that episode twice, and it's just good on him is what I'll say.
Yeah. May you fly many more people.
Apparently he's still flying. He's at the end of the season. That point, he wraps it up by saying he's still flying and doing all these random jobs because he enjoys it now. So, what?
Yeah, it's like John Travolta.
Yeah.
My number 6 is the Apple TV Plus series Murderbot, starring Alexander Skarsgård as a security bot who has hacked his programming. So he doesn't really need to do what he's told, but he goes along with it because it's too much hassle. So he doesn't want to risk his newfound freedom being discovered, and he would really just rather binge watch space operas that he's downloaded on his programming. Unfortunately, he's been sent to a planet to secure a bunch of hippies trying to survey a planet, but shit goes awry very quickly. I mean, this show kind of relies on Alexander Skarsgård being really funny, and he's in a monologue where he has a very very dry, sarcastic wit, which is my vibe. Really enjoyable, fun look at this sci-fi idea of what it means to be human, I guess, in this kind of comedic take, when everybody else kind of sees you as a robot. Really great cast. I mean, David Dastmalchian is probably the biggest known actor out of the ensemble cast. I mean, visually wise, it's really interesting. Special effects are up there and that kind of stuff. So yeah, Murderbot, really good. Look forward to another season whenever that will drop. Dylan, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is From One Skarsgård to Another. It is Welcome to Derry. Another show that when they announced, I was like, I don't feel like that's going to be good. And then we watched the trailer, and I believe I also didn't like the trailer much. But the show, I have now come to the conclusion that the show is better than both the movies, by a large margin, in my opinion. So this one's set in 1962. We're introduced to a bunch of new characters, some of which may or may not relate to the characters from the actual movie and stuff. But you see it from multiple angles throughout this show, and it makes it really interesting. And I mean, they hide Pennywise for the first few episodes, and not they don't save him to the last one, but I would say that by the time you actually see like clown Pennywise, technically Pennywise is always in the show because any monster that you see as Pennywise is it, right? But Pennywise the clown, they get a really good reveal. But we follow it from this season. You're introduced to this army flight whatever dude, and like you're following a story from there, which is interesting to find out what the army's doing, and it's something to do with it and the creature, but what they're trying to do there. And you also learn more about the origins of it coming to Earth in this, and they tease some stuff, and we do a little bit of flashbacks to like the 1920s, I think, that we do to learn more about earlier times. Chris Chalk plays Dick Halloran in this, which was really interesting because that's the character that you see in The Shining, who works there as the caretaker and speaks to the kid, and tells him about the shine. So they're doing a little bit of building a larger like Stephen King universe in this. They also mention Shawshank a couple times and stuff like that. So you get like this larger universe being built, which is really good. But all the kids are really, really great. And I think the testament is, there's some really great performances, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's like one episode in particular, standout episode, the second last or third last. I think it might be second last. I think second last episode, which is just sensational. I haven't read the book, but I saw people online saying, man, when it gets to this, because the book does, from my understanding, do little flashback chapters or whatever to tell a bit more of the things that it's been involved with and tell more about Derry. But they obviously sort of extrapolated that a bit more for the show. But with that, I remember seeing people write like, man, if they do this part from the book, it's going to be really fucked up. And it was, and not like a really gruesome way, but just like horrible, hateful event that happens. Because I mean, the thing about, you haven't watched any of the It movies, have you?
Nope.
No. Because the thing about It is, although you've got like this, the whole thing is about obviously this clown. Behind it all is, it's always like following these just hate that builds in Derry, and that's sort of why the creature feeds off there. These people that like even the movies has it, like these characters full of racism and beating their wives and all these different storylines that we have to follow of the kids and stuff. There's that's sort of going on there. And by the time we get to the last episode, and I think the other thing that stood out to me, especially in a year where we got the Stranger Things finale, which I'm going to assume is on neither of our lists, that show just dropped. Like what I was when I'm looking for like young kid characters, supernatural take on the monster sort of thing, this show was delivering it for me, where Stranger Things hasn't for seasons now, especially when the final episode of this has not to fully spoil it and all, but has one of the best gifable moments, I guess, of fucking Pennywise on the ground, like crawling towards people, and another kid running past him in slow motion, giving him the finger. And that's just great. So
All right. My number 6 is season 7 of Game Changer. Probably the show that I've watched the most this year. Just so many really funny episodes, really creative, bold game shows that they've invented. And also this season was weirdly seemed to constantly be a season about referencing itself and delving into its history, right up to the final secret episode, summoning a ding dong that saw the tables finally turn and Brendan got an opportunity to stick it to Sam and make him a contestant. But yeah, I mean, right from the opening episode of 1 year later of all Vic, Jacob, and I could see him. I can't remember his name. And Lou, having to complete these tasks over the course of 1 year. Absolutely bonkers. Roulette, one of my favorite episodes. I've watched a bunch of times. I think probably my favorite season of the show. And each week just filled me with joy. So, or every second week, I guess, because they released it for 2 weeks. That's my number 5. Dylan, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Apple TV Plus. Oh no, I think that's called Apple TV now. Series. Yeah, they dropped that. Hey, Pluribus, the brand new Vince Gilligan series. Yes, I know you was expecting it to be higher. I can't justifiably put it higher just to play into the meme of me having to put Vince Gilligan and Rhea Seehorn things higher. This is where it belongs this year. And to be honest, usually all Vince Gilligan shows, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, season 1's usually it's always good, but by the time we get, that's when I'm like,
you gotta get more invested before.
Yeah. There's some other stuff here you'll see I was just a bit more invested. But show's really good. Obviously, I'm very happy that Ray won a Emmy finally, thank God.
No.
Golden Globe, sorry. Finally won an award for
she was awarded something.
Yeah, was awarded something finally. But yeah, the show is very weird. But it says, hey, what if this thing infected humans and they all became a massive hive mind and there's 11 or 12 people left on Earth who aren't affected by it. And for the most part, we follow obviously Ray's character, Carol, and she hates everyone and everything that's going on. And I believe justifiably, because what the fuck? Why isn't everyone else freaking out? And then obviously the sort of halfway through the season, we get to meet more about, this is Carlos, I think is that what dude's name, who had spent most of the time hiding out, and eventually when those two start to intersect, I guess the show you see hope, I guess, but sort of takes it away from you a little bit. But very interesting, very people call it slow paced. I think it's fine. That's it. I know we talked about when before. It's just I'm used to that. Like Gilligan will take his time as he deals necessary, and happy to build out and draw out moments that you may 2 seasons from now be like, oh man, I'm so glad they spent so much time with that, because now that's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just sort of, I've never complained about the slow build out nature of his shows before ever, so I've no complaints here. But I mean, obviously there's so many extras and stuff involved in this, doing such. I think that's the other thing I really would shout out the show for, is like, you have all these like bit part actors and extras being so heavily important to the show to work that I don't know if that's like something that you could say for any other show this year. Like, there's so many extras that have to fulfill their moments to make the show work, and so many like actors who are only in it for like potentially 2 to 5 minutes interacting with Carl sometimes that are as important. You know what I mean? Like, there's a show that just has so many different small part players that it's not normal for, I guess, usually there's a core cast, right? So really, really good concept, and still you so many questions for however many seasons we're going to follow this through.
Dylan, Pluribus is also my number 4.
There we go. So fuck off.
That's what the look was. Okay. Not that it was higher, although that is surprising. I think a show that has a really interesting conceit and then plays it out in a very interesting way, that leads to speculation. I've been listening along to different podcasts as they talk about and theorize about the show. each week, like picking apart what the hive mind, what are the rules and that kind of stuff that we're, how is Carol going to, overcome this hive mind, and then there's times where she kind of embraces the new world, and those are really fun to see and watch. But then ultimately where the end of the season takes us, I think is very fascinating. For
People
it
hate
definitely
them.
gives you an idea of where the show's going from here.
Do you see how many
beyond
people
the season.
complained about the last episode?
Sure. People are going to complain about everything. Just didn't answer every single question in the first season. Crazy. But yeah, obviously they've spent a bunch of money in this, and you can see where it all goes into these crazy,
their most viewed show now,
synchronized
too.
sequences.
Mm.
Yeah. Or like there's either these crazy synchronized sequences, or it's just the emptiness of places that is like weirdly incredible to see. Yeah, very fascinating. The story of Carol, I think, is quite interesting. Of this, I would say, abrasive character, who I'm sure has turned off a lot of people.
She has the right, but I'm like, it makes sense. Should be abrasive. Like, I feel like I would be.
She was abrasive before.
We don't get to see much of her. Well, she is. Yes, I guess you do get to see.
She doesn't like her fans. She's not super loving to her partner.
Flawed characters are more interesting.
Very upset about being in Ice Castle.
Yeah,
all this kind of stuff. But yeah, Pluribus, whenever it comes back, looking forward to it. Dylan, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is The White Lotus season 3. For number 3, of course, White Lotus, one of the best shows every year. Different cast of characters, or mostly a different cast of characters, and it's always just super interesting. I have no idea how Mike White constantly keeps coming out with such intriguing characters and also I nearly, the show's also become like one of the most interesting casting users. Like at the moment they're casting Steve Coogan's got casting I think it was the other day there's some casting. It's like every time they
France,
I think it's France,
something like that.
But it's like every season of White Lotus now, it's like people get really excited about who's going to be in it, which is sort of fun, like to see and so far he hasn't like missed. You get these really like this. I brought up the list because I don't want to miss anyone or miss the main people, but Leslie Bibb, Carrie Coon, Walton Goggins, Jason Isaacs, Michelle Monaghan, Patrick Schwarzenegger, Amy Lou Wood, and some other people, of course, as well. But the similar to other seasons, it starts with this whole bunch of people arriving on the island. Jason Isaacs there with his family. Leslie Bibb's there with like Carrie Coon and Michelle Monaghan, a group of friends, and Walton Goggins is there with Amy Lou Wood as his partner. And then like Natasha Rothwell is there by herself. She's the carryover character actually from the first season. So that's every season has at least had some connective layer. Actually, there's the other connective fabric is, I don't know, I have the actor's name in front of me, but the guy who plays Greg is other connective fabric, who was the guy who was married to Stifler's mum. Her. Play mental blank, forgetting her goddamn name. But married to her
Jennifer Coolidge. There we go.
Jennifer Coolidge, thank you.
Before I even searched.
Yeah. There's in it, so there are some connective fabric, but the most interesting just thing is like you've got the girls is like their whole thing is like Michelle Monaghan's like this super famous person. It's like one of the other friends is sort of okay with it, but then Carrie Coon, who's one of my, I think probably my favorite. She doesn't get like as showy as a performance, but she's really, really good in it. Sort of like the least successful. It's not like she plays someone who's jealous. She just plays like sort of this interesting realist. Walton Goggins, of course, is the most sort of secretive, interesting character of the whole season. You're like, why is Amy Lou Wood with him? Like, is there some like thing here where she's like a gold digger and like, but like, what's his deal? He's constantly like darting off and looking at stuff. Like, what's the story here? Jason Isaacs, his whole family arrives there. They're all terrible. They're all absolutely the worst people ever. Oh, Parker Posey's up here. I forgot to mention, who of course became the biggest meme central from this show with her delivery of lines and stuff from the season, which is really good. But I mean, as soon as he gets to the island, he pretty much finds out that I think it's like the FBI, whoever's like raided his business, and he's being caught out for fraud. And that once he goes back to normality, his life and his family's life's going to be over. So pretty much the whole season is like just watching him not tried to crumble and try to keep lying to his family and stuff. Yeah, it's very good. It's very beautifully shot. And yeah, the last episode, sad in some ways, but yeah, another. I know the show doesn't miss so far, 3 seasons in. So,
all right. At number 3, this is where I put the studio. It just feels like a show that was made for us, you know, giving us a behind the scenes look at the industry, kind of delving into all the craziness that can ensue. And like, obviously, we've come to learn that some of this stuff is based on true life events from the experience of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Fantastic casts like Seth Rogen, Ike Barinholtz, Chase Sue Williams, Catherine Hahn, Catherine O'Hara. You know, they're all fantastic. And then you've got a cavalcade of guest stars that they've called up and asked to be in stuff, from Scorsese to friggin' Olivia Wilde, or who else? Zoe Kravitz going absolutely crazy. Dave Franco.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard is another great one.
Yeah.
You know, it tackles some really interesting subject matter. The whole episode where he's dating a doctor and like, it's like talking about how important his job is too, like in a room of doctors. It's like just a hilarious situation, you know. And yeah, like going to we want to make things original, new things, but we also want to stick to a formula we know works, you know, and that kind of stuff.
I want to make art. I want to make like art, but I want to make like art that makes
money.
$200 million.
Yeah. And then the whole building of the Kool-Aid Man movie during the course of the season. Really fun.
Did you see in an interview after the Golden Globes, Seth Rogen got asked by someone like if he found any content, and he was like, yeah, I've already seen something. He's like, it'll make it into the show. It's already, you'll know when you see it. I'm like, is it going to be Sean Penn smoking? Like, what are we?
Yeah, so studio, fantastic. And also, like you said, like one of the best shot shows on television, weirdly, with so many long-running takes. It just looks like nothing else.
And moving cameras. It's not like moving it's static
cameras,
shots. Like, yeah.
No, again. Tell them, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Adolescence, the Netflix series, which took, I think, the world by storm. Slowly by storm. I feel like it took like a month or so, like after it felt like to like something like it was like sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, Owen Cooper's won everything he's been up for this show, and that kid has been very good at doing speeches and stuff every time.
Well, he's had a lot of practice.
He's had a lot of practice, true. Stephen Graham looks happy every single time though, and good for him. Just father figure vibes, I guess, going on. Also, good shout out to him when he went up at the Golden Globes, just like everyone's shaking his hand and stuff, because he's usually been such a he's a supporting actor usually, you know, and he knows all these people. He's been around for long enough. He's worked with like so many people, and I think you see that like sort of. I remember like watching him walk through the crowd, and everyone's just like stopping to shake his hand. I'm like, yeah, there's a guy who's, you know, he's been around. A lot of people like and respect him, and yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously the show is about a kid who at the start's like arrested for murdering someone, and I guess spoilers for the end of the first episode, but even though he spends the whole episode saying he didn't do it, he did. And then the episodes following are like, the second episode is the detectives sort of interviewing and trying to talk to people at his school and stuff like that, and the third episode is him talking to a psychologist, I guess would be like pretty much, and that's his episode. Like that's an absolutely insane episode with him just showing so much of this raw built up rage and just totally intolerant, terrible opinions that he's had presumably bred into his brain by shit like Andrew Tate, although they don't say it. That's what the direction of we're sort of heading in. It's like the show's very much not about, I think as they said on the Globe stage, it's not about like saying fuck our kids today. It's like we should be like there are things in the world who are like making the next generation of men terrible people, and fully agree. Like that's like, it's depending on who you're watching, what content, but and there's so many things for, I guess, if you have a kid these days, to think about like what the fuck they're watching, and just the manfluencer spread. And then yes, the fourth episode, Stephen Graham's episode, heavy for him, and yeah, phenomenal performance by him, especially the last like 10 minutes. That's just super sad. Yeah, easily one of the best shows here. Just it's a powerhouse performance, and also just a powerhouse production value. These they're oneers. Every single episode's a oneer. And just hearing about how they did it, where they would apparently just film 10, like play out 10 minutes, restart, now do an extra 10 minutes, so you go to 20 minutes, and restart, now go 30 minutes. And by the time you get through, and then I think they said they filmed it 3 times or something, and then just sort of use the best one. But and just even seeing things like there's a part in the second episode where a camera goes out the door, and you're like, well, maybe that was a cut there, but then you see the behind the scenes, and it's like the fucking camera's attached. It's like it just flies off on this drone, like they just release it from the grip, and it just flies out the window. I'm like, insane shit they did. I think also in the 4th episode, this van comes out and the camera like gets into the van. You're like, how'd that happen? It's like there's every episode has multiple camera people, like camera operators. So it's like someone's like moving along filming it, and there's someone in the van. They pass the camera to the person in the van. Like watching the behind the scenes is nearly as interesting as the show.
Yeah. My number 2 is The Pit. Another show that I feel like built slowly over the year, releasing like really early, and then like maybe take a couple of months before people started to really catch on. I think the magic of this show is it revitalizes the medical drama, like a genre that had in the past while turned kind of been like soap-esque.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody thinks of Grey's. What do you think medical drama lately? Before this, you think Grey's Anatomy? That's the
Grey's Anatomy or Nurse Jackie is what I go to.
It's obviously filmed real time, 24-esque series that follows the shift of a bunch of doctors in an emergency room in Pittsburgh, dealing with all the different cases and workload and addressing all the different trials and tribulations that doctors have to deal with nowadays, from not enough nurses, not enough beds upstairs, and people being stuck in the emergency room or staying ages in the waiting room because they're not getting treated, at least in America, quickly enough. Just all the crazy kind of injuries that can be sustained and that kind of stuff. Obviously, the cast is what kind of keeps this story or show running. Like, there's a great crew of doctors, or cast of doctors, led by Noah Wiley, who's returning to wearing a white coat after being on ER for so many years. Catherine Lanasa plays the head nurse, who plays who's like the mother hen, I guess, of the emergency room. And then all the other like different level doctors have their own personalities and quirks and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was weirdly must-watch TV every single week for me. It was come home Friday to have dinner, then watch The Pit, because you wouldn't want to eat afterwards sometimes, because that would definitely get into some of the gruesome stuff. You know, there were definitely, I think, the first episode featured a woman who had been degloved. One of her leg had been degloved by a train. Which,
how are you watching this horror show?
I'm all about the horror now. Sure. Maybe this is what desensitized me and allowed me to watch horror stuff. But yeah, fantastic show. Obviously, it's already back. You could be watching season 2 of The Pit already. But yeah, really enjoyed the show. Glad it appeared. So yeah, Dylan, I highly suspect we have the same number 1. And I also suspect we're going to see a return of another Skarsgård.
Indeed. Making the trifecta. We've covered the Sons, and now for the Holy Spirit. Stellan Skarsgård does indeed co-star in Andor Season 2. Which, yes, I presume is both our number 1s.
It is, yeah.
Because it's the correct choice.
Because it's the correct choice. It is the Explosion Network's number 1 show of this year. I think the first ever show to win this have been number 1 twice.
Yep, it would be. Yep. Yeah. And we've spoken about this show
extensively on a show called Holocron Entries.
Yeah, Holocron Entries, Going Rogue. And we've spoken about that, obviously covering every episode. I also feel like we've just mentioned it so many times, because obviously the show started in 2022 and then finished last year in 2025. So we've had years to say, how this show is the best Star Wars show and talked about it, and the constant disappointment that more people weren't watching it and all this stuff. I mean, I still run into people and meet people who will say they like Star Wars, haven't watched this. To which I say, you don't like Star Wars. You like shiny, buzzy lightsabers. You don't like Star Wars. You don't like George Lucas Star Wars allegory for Vietnam War Star Wars. You just like the shiny toys because at
you
the
don't like
end
the
of it,
actual wars in Star Wars.
yeah, you don't like the wars,
You
man.
like the Star fantasy stuff.
Star stuff. And they like Andor is easily and has been like some of the best television of the last few years, and that's why it's obviously made our lists and the Explosion list twice now. But it's not because it's Star Wars; it's just because it's such a good. At the end of the day, it's just a really fucking good like political thriller that just thematically also hits very, very hard. So many things going on in the world right now. Both seasons have these sensational, powerful speech moments. Have just the. I mean, that moment also. I saw a GIF of it the other day when I was looking for some like pictures for thumbnails and stuff, where Krennic like puts his fucking finger on top of Deidre's head. Like that is such a just absolutely disgusting power play ball move that just watching a GIF over and over, I'm like, that is direction. That is cinema. Like that is just do this one finger to show how powerful you are and how little you know. Genevieve O'Reilly is of course Mon Mothma's speech. Listen to that all day, every day. Help get you through life. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish I could get everyone to watch Andor. Is how I feel about Andor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is an incredible series, incredible season of television. A unfortunately so relevant show. The episodes 7, 8, 9, hit harder now than they ever did. Just kind of giving you this look at what it actually costs to get, how much effort had to go to eventually get Luke Skywalker to shoot down the Death Star. All these other sacrifices had to be made. So some random kid from Tatooine could shoot a missile into it, magically into a air duct. Just the sacrifices of all these characters that we've been watching, they're slow coming to find their place in the rebellion. The whole story of Cassian Andor, like the tragedy of knowing how it's going to play out.
Tragedy of Andor.
The tragedy of how it's all going to play out. And the show is just riddled with fantastic monologues and speeches that all so I've watched so many montages of the speeches being played over other footage because they just fit perfectly,
I mean, even the tragedy of Cyril is the other thing that stands out from the show. Just from it's like the
just the person who's been kind of
Cassian and Cyril, I guess,
fallen into the machine and kind of being,
I still think that moment where he's like holding the gun and he's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, who are you? Like such a just good explanation of how sometimes people can fill their heart with such hatred. And it's like, it's not reciprocated.
It's not, not reciprocated in the slightest. Also just incredibly shot, directed fantastically. Everybody in the cast is stunning, and it just kind of fits seamlessly within the world of Star Wars while also being arguably superior to anything else that Disney has put out. And also wrapped up so much that it feels complete in a way some other things don't. I don't think there's really many questions left unanswered at the end of the series.
No, I mean you could be like, oh, I wonder what happens to I don't try to judge spoilers, but her, I guess, like at the end of the show, you could be like, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
Certainly. All right. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap things up?
Nah, I locked in a solid 10 again.
Yeah. But you can go check out the Explosion Network's top 10 TV series of 2025 by going to explosionnetwork.com/best of 2025. yeah, let us know what your top 10 TV shows of 2025 were by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow and let us know on social media. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser that leaves 5 stars. Anyone leave 5 stars or tell people about the show. And if you want to help us out in other ways, like over at the website or with our other podcasts or other content or our best 25 content, head over to explosionnetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.